Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers, sponsored by Front Street Toys, Casper Egg, Slama Enterprises, Trip Downing, and Wettencamp Transport. I'm John Strandley with Ryan Rosnick, Greg and Mason Elsing. We'd like to welcome the one and only famous Clint Tucker.
Clint.
I don't know how famous.
Yep, you got a face for radio.
Hey guys.
Like.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want you guys sitting here watching me watch the Chili Bowl while I'm talking to you.
Right. Chili Bowl. Sounds like this weekend was pretty chilly down in Cloverdale.
Oh yeah, it was really cold and snowy. A lot of obstacles, but we had a nice poll in the building. Want to start off by thanking all my title sponsor, Ethan Stevenson, all the class sponsors, all the box seat supporters. I want to thank all those guys. Without you, none of this would be possible. Thank all the vendors. I know they didn't get the crowd through the vendor area they wanted, but thanks for their support, and thanks for all the guys that braved it and didn't back out because of the snow and the cold and brought their tractors. The parking lot, thanks to Mark Austin, actually worked out better than I thought it was going to, and all the pullers cooperated and went with the plan. At no time did we have too many haulers and not enough spots. Thursday night we had to wait around a little bit for some guys to get the tractors loaded and moved, and it all worked out really well as far as that part of it. But the snow Friday really hurt our crowd. Saturday we got a little better, but it was all around a good event. So happy we did it. We're already making plans for next year.
How many?
How
much snow did you get down there? John, how much?
It probably snowed 4 inches there, 3 to 4 on Friday, but it snowed from 10 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. So it just constant, snow. And a lot of people don't want to get out in it, and we have schools getting canceled, basketball games getting canceled all the way around us. And so, people in the southern part of Illinois and southern part of Indiana just don't move around when it snows compared to, we had less snow this year during pull and before the pull than we had at Cloverdale at Ship Showing last year during the shows. But just a whole different mindset. Those people up there are just used to it, and they still came to watch our polls at Ship. This year, people just chose to buy the live stream, which helps, but it's not. It just doesn't look as good to the building people that we rent, and then the vendors and all the beer sales stuff. Is if they would be there in person, it's a lot better for everybody else. But we appreciate everybody bought the live stream. It was really good this year. Ryan did an excellent job on the live stream. I've had several phone calls today and yesterday. Really liked the live stream. It was perfect, but that's why we do it. So it worked out really good.
Were your live stream numbers up because of snow? You think guys just did a live stream instead of coming to it, or what do you think? It's a good option.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And we get a little grief that we charge a lot for our live stream, but we feel like live stream. You live stream a session, it should be more than a ticket, and a lot of people disagree with that. But they're not in our shoes. If they were in our shoes, they'd fully understand. So it is what it is, and it works out great. And we'll be ready to do it again next year.
Right. What did you have a question there, John? I'm sorry I interrupted you before.
Yeah, the only problems you had is you got to put rules to the beer cup stacking, and that sounds like one hell of a problem.
Yeah, that was interesting and fun on Saturday night. We got to get some rules for that, and we have some rules in some classes we got to tweak a little bit. We're doing, I think I made some comments in podcasts this winter that identify the kiss of death that we have all these hot farms from all these different clubs from Virginia and New York and Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. We had one guy there from Canada, Indiana. I mean, these guys all kind of run on a different, style rules they call a hot farm, and we've had really no problems. Then some of them run 20.8, some run 24.5s. They all kind of got along really well. Well, this year our track was a different kind of soil. wasn't black, black clay like Gordyville, and it wasn't the brought in pounded down clay like up a ship. It was kind of a browner clay with a little bit of sand mixed into it. So it was a little more forgiving, especially whenever we got a little shy on water a couple sessions. We didn't do what we were supposed to do and get the water in it and get it really tight. And the 24.5 tires shined. And some guys lost their mind over it, but it is what it is. You can't have the same service every year when you change buildings as much as we do. So,
right.
But we're addressing it, and I think what our plan is right now is going to help help the 466 tractors that compete in Badger State and UPM and Tri-State. I think our plan is to give them a session next year all by themselves, and then do the native Indiana sessions, and then another session of them with the 24.5s and some other rules. And then all they have to do is blend together in the finals, and we're going to do some tweaking on the weights to give everybody an opportunity to get as close as we can. And the tires, on the 20.8, the tires are a big topic right now, because a lot of us have relied on the old deep tread radials for years and years and years. Well, now there's stuff out there that's maybe a little bit better, and so we're going to have to do a little tweaking, but that's what Ryan and I and the board of directors do. We'll have a meeting in March. We've already started planning for next year, and we'll tweak it and get it right so everybody's comfortable.
Excuse me. So, could a Badger State hot farm guy that usually runs 20.8s in the summer, could he put 24.5s on and come there and pull, he or she?
Yeah, absolutely. They're legal. They're legal in the hot farm, and they're also legal in the 9,000 super farm. You can put 24.5s on and come down if you choose to, and because that's part of the game. But I think some of the guys that were there from Minnesota, we were talking a little bit, and a few other guys that didn't come, were just there watching and said, our tires are our problem. I mean, not our horsepower, it's our tires. Yeah, we know we're behind a little bit from the 510 motors, but we're not dying down to big end. We're still spinning out. So probably need to start looking at tires, because now the tire game is went from pro cycler down to hot farm. It's unfortunately a game that we're all going to be playing for years now, because got so many different ideas about a 24.5 and a 20.8. But yeah, it's going to be a moving number, and we didn't think we were ever going to have a problem, and then this year on the San Diego track it occurred. So we'll fix it, and we'll move on with life. Nobody died. All hot farm kept the rear ends in. Our little class, our little light limiteds. It was a good enough track where we had a lot of rear end destruction, because we had the tracks really good on Friday morning and Saturday morning, wet and sticky, and some of those guys got a lot of work to do. And I apologize that the rear ends went out, but with the turbo technology and the tire technology, some of these smaller rear ends that we ran in these tractors for years may not last much longer.
You're going to find the weak link if you get the tires hooked up and you're making a little more power, a little better turbos. There's something in between that's going to give up, right?
Yep. Something's going to break.
Yep. So you should tell us a little bit about the Cup Challenge. I've got Mason in here because he was involved in it, and they had a lot of fun doing it. Just whatever you did, I guess, or is this something that just popped up, or what happened? How'd that work?
It just started popping up. They started stacking their cups up because we took a little bit of time there between the class we ran before the 5.0s, we had a little weight, and I seen the cups start getting stacked up on the DOT barriers, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then then a few of the vendors and a few of the sponsors start throwing money at it, and the then one of our announcers got there and kind of got a cheering contest for all the people that were competing on cups, and then they took all the money and they went and the guy who they declared a winner, which I was kind of in the back when there was a winner declared. They took all the money and threw it in the toy charity, so it worked out.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like you're having fun doing all that. Has somebody tried to knock one over there with the loader?
They knocked him over with the loader.
Oh yeah, there was some cheating. There was some cheating. One of my roller guys, Flea, the famous Flea. He ran it. He took his nose and went over there and hit his accelerator a couple times and knocked the cup pile down. And then the guy Cole, who picks up the tractors at the end, he ran out there and knocked the mini ride Jasper crew. He knocked their pile over with the nose of his lift bar. He stuck it above the DOT barrier just to aggravate them. So we were having fun.
Yep. Sounds like they had a pretty good time down there.
Our booth declared on that whole deal.
you protest.
We were the only booth that drank all our own beer. The whole crowd versus us.
Well, that's what happens when you go drinking. It's usually everybody else against Wisconsin when it comes time to drink beer.
It was us, our booth, Kelly's booth, and Trip Downing's booth, and then the Balm crew. Well, because they bought the drink carrier, and I think we filled it up 5 times in one session.
Holy crap!
Yeah, the cart thing.
Yeah, it was we were getting 40 beers at a time. We filled it up 5 times.
Oh,
there you
go.
We were bound to determine win.
Right?
Our head hurt the next day.
Cooch is probably not out of bed yet. Did he help?
Yeah, Cooch was helping. Natalie even drank a beer.
Drink one of the cup of Natalie's, huh?
Cooch is probably still sleeping at the truck stop down there.
Right. Somebody probably stole his fuel again this time.
Yeah.
Keep him home. Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
So that's all fun. Trip down there. Trip did good. How many Badger State guys did good in the classes? I guess I didn't really see it.
I think everybody that pulled down there pretty much made a final of something.
Right.
One final.
Yeah.
Fritz won the Super Farms again.
Yeah. That's a good tractor there. Good running tractor. Yep. Yep. Who won the Limited Pro?
Dean Holicky.
Dean Holicky won. Well, he's close to Wisconsin.
Dean came in at the very end there and just we were a little bit light for the 4.1s, and they were having to roll up in the pile. Dutton was first, and he kind of backed out of it, and I wasn't down there, so they went ahead and rolled the dice. I thought maybe Dutton had got a cherry, and then the rest of them came. The 4.1s both days put on a tremendous show. They were right there at the pile, or rolled up close, into. And there really wasn't a dirt pile; it was a dirt ramp, or a sand pile. It was a dirt ramp, and you could roll up into it and keep spinning, and until you lost your drawbar. And a lot of guys hate that. I'm sure the pulloff.com will get on there and crucify us like they always do, but they're not in our shoes, and you don't want to make guys make 2 paths.
Wouldn't you rather have the ramp than a pile into a punch of sand that's going to wreck something?
Oh yeah, that's the way we feel. But
yeah, it's going to unload your rear end, and you're going to stop. You're going to be done. You might have to hit it with a little more momentum than the next guy if you want to go past him or something, but that's what it is, right?
It wasn't near as bad as Bill Smith. He climbed the pile and broke his pipe off of Gordyville, but back in the early days. But everybody was fine. I mean, it was good, and all them 4.1 guys are all friends and buddies. They pull against each other all summer long, and they're basically just put on a show, and it was good. I was happy. I was happy for them. It's by far the best class of Saturday night was the 4.1s all doing that. And, I looked at the speed board a couple times during the Friday night session. I think they were going like 28, 29 mile an hour. So it was all good.
Yep. That's a good show. Good show. So you raised some money for a charity too. Do you have any numbers from that yet, Clint, or you got to let them?
Yeah, I think we were just right at $10,000 for feeding the children. Um, we did the Zinkert's classic modified toy. Um, we had about 4,000, a little bit over 4,000 in advance, and then I told my wife if they're a little bit short of the 10,000, we're going to kick in some from the bottom line business that we have and make sure they got $10,000. And what's the nice thing about Feed the Children is if every dollar donated, it turns into 9. So if we can give them 10 grand, that's great. They'll end up being $9,000 worth of food. And they'll go to a hungry kid, and that's what we were after. Well, we wish it was more, but you know, the people just weren't there to buy the tickets. Pre-sale tickets were crazy and the best we've ever had. But if we had a little bit better weather, we'd have done better. But we've already, got our heads together. We've selected a toy for next year, and just having we'll talk in March and select a charity, and we'll get the ball rolling again. And hopefully next year we're in a different situation and warmer, and no snow, and fill the place and sell a boatload of tickets.
Right. Well, that's what happens. Hopefully. Yep. Good. And you talking about possibly a different spot for next year? I don't know if you want to let or whatever. You're always looking for.
There's several spots that have reached out to us, east, west, north, and south, because they know that we're a cash cow for the town whenever we bring all these pullers and fans to town. So there's several places. Carl and Steve, they did the best they could there with their building at Cloverdale. The snow just wrecked us, but everything worked out really good there. We actually, when we were digging the sand off, we actually found the shock line from the last NTPA pole they had, so we knew we were kind of at. And Randy Koenig brought all his dirt equipment there and helped us. And Isaac Kilburn brought his bulldozer down for us to use, so it worked out great there. I mean, we just had a little bit of luck. It had been a really big success, but yeah, it's too early to speculate. We'll go next year. We might be right back there. If everything would work out and then meets our budget, we might be right back there next year. But as of right now, we're looking at several different venues, east, west, north, south. We don't want to go too far south because we kind of get into the same crowd as at Murfreesboro. We don't want to eliminate anybody. We don't want to burn any bridges. So we'll go to the place that makes the most sense.
Right. Well, how many years have you been doing this now, your indoor pole?
That was 21.
21?
21 consecutive. Because we were the only one that survived COVID.
Right. Perfect.
Gordon Lauderdale.
Yeah,
Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah.
No, Gordy Wanadale, they were calling it, announcers were.
Oh.
Internationals,
Yeah.
That was Carl Downs, and he had a bet with his friends watching in the shop how many times he could say it during the week.
Poor Carl stood there by Ryan all weekend by the scissor lift and didn't see one tractor go down a track that wasn't on the screen. He was our play-by-play man. He was Dan in the box for NTPA.
Right. John, did you have your mini rod there this year?
No, the engine sitting on the engine stand hurt. I was premonitions of doing it, and then everything else going on around here. I knew I wasn't going to get it together, so regrouping for next year, maybe next year. So got to get tires. Our clutch is bad, and we hurt the motor, so we got to get that all figured out first. But I signed up last year. I was really hoping to go last year, but with everything going on at home, that didn't work out. But so we'll see. 2026 will be a new year, so we'll see if we can make it to that one.
There's always.
Well, we were a little short with the mini rods this year, but we had good quality. The Butsons, congratulate them for the win. The Jaspers, they run hard. They're going to add a third one to the stable next year. Um, we had a lot of 2 tractor teams, only brought 1. The Turner family out of Missouri, they took the winter off. They have one of the stouter ones in the country. And the Quebec guys and the Canadian guys, they had some trouble. They were gonna bring 1, and they're gonna bring 3. Then ended up being none. But yeah, we're we love the mini rods. They bring a lot of excitement to the group. We might even have 3 flavors next year again, with some big block NA mini rods. But gonna have to tweak the little mini rods a little bit. There's a little bit of problem there. And, I think Ryan and I talked last night for a little while. I think we're gonna pull the weed that's the problem and fix the mess. So I think we can probably make that public pretty quick.
Okay, sounds
So
good.
we need the Tri County support in the Econo mini rod class, and without the Tri County support, it doesn't last. So that's our goal, is get all the Tri County guys back on the docket and have a nice big class of it and entertain the fans.
All right. Who's did you have Brandon Bungard Sled there?
Yeah, Brandon and Donnie did an excellent job again. Brandon only had to reset this a couple times, and smoke machine was flawless. They did an excellent job, and talking to all the pullers, they appreciate it, and they said that no matter at all costs, make sure you have them back next year. So we're on that plan right now, and we'll be working with those guys again probably next year, and make it all happen.
Whose smoke machine is it?
Donnie and Brandon own their own smoke machine, and then Darren Allison and I, Darren runs Sleds and does the Keystone event. He and I are business partners on the old smoke machine that we used to run, and Darren brings it out just in case for backup. So nobody knew that, but it was sitting on the grounds the whole time. So if heaven forbid something bad would happen to Donnie and Brandon's smoke machine, we can pull ours out and back it up there, hook it all up, and show will go on. So that relationship will be there again next year, and that's nice to have 2 machines of that quality, at your discretion. So yeah, it was
Right.
smoke machine was flawless. Of course, we don't fool with the big pros and don't want to, and because that takes a whole nother level of tube, and we just know our place in the game, and everything that we run works really good on that smoke machine. So we're really happy. Brandon's streak was, I think, Ryan might know a little better. I think he had to reset a hot farm class in a session in 2023, and that was the only reset he had. And then last year in 2024, he had no resets, and this year we just had a couple. So in 3 years, this kid's went down the track 1,500 times and only reset the sled less than 6. So it's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive outfit to work with. And I work with him every day during the summer. And whenever people in Illinois need a good quality sled, I always recommend them. And I have 2 great friends that run a sled for them. So over here in Illinois and over in Missouri as well. So good outfit to work with. Really happy with everything they did, and can't thank them enough.
All right. Emily wants to know, how many beers did Mason consume?
Too many.
I got the answer. All of them.
All
Yeah.
of them.
One at a time. I never seen Mason with 2. He only had one at a time.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Yeah. All of them. Did I forgot I was going to ask you too about some. Oh, that turbo rule, like for 4-1s, what turbo rule did you go with, Clint?
We went with 2024 rules. We didn't feel like we were the big enough deal to make the new stand like they're making at Louisville. We figured, guys, I was like, well, if I got to do that, I ain't coming. So we went ahead and allowed the 2024 rules to go. I heard them. You know, you can hear those things. They call them boat props. And I've seen boat props in 2.6 turbos. I've seen boat props in 3-inch, 4. So it's a topic. I'm sure it'll be a hot topic down in Louisville. I know my boss in Pro Pulling League is looking into something. I don't think anything's perfect yet. Some groups have said, you know, play on. It's going to be an interesting summer, to say the least. But I think we're overcomplicating it. I think things can be simplified, but nobody really asked me, so I just shut up. But it's just going to have to be addressed. It's going to have to be addressed. And it's going to have to be addressed real quick. And there's some good ideas out west as far as box turbos in the 4-1 class, and some good ideas floating around. So
I talked to somebody in Excalibur. They're doing a box turbo, 4.3 or something.
Well, Excalibur is just like Badger State. It's under the Pro Pulling League umbrella. That'll have to be approved by Big John. I'm not going to speculate on any of that right now. That's a whole nother topic. I have my opinion. I'm not going to speak for John right now, but I will say this. I don't think our box turbo is going to be a box turbo that is at the horsepower level we are right now. I just don't think that's smart, for one. And but if a turbo manufacturer would build a turbo that would be at that 2,500 horsepower range and be really reliable, I think that's the direction that we should go. That's just my opinion. But, the crowd won't know a thing.
I can see. I've heard both arguments, and I agree with both sides on a lot of it. You know, it's just something the guys got to think about a little bit, right?
Well, they got to quit thinking. They got to quit thinking about their hood and what's under it.
Right.
They need to think about their class and keeping the tractors in the class and putting on a good show for the fans. And as tractor pullers, we forget that sometimes. You gotta think about what we're doing and putting on a good show, you know, and keeping tractors on the track and able to go everywhere, you know, they want to go and stand on the track. So I'm sure this will be a very heated, very interesting topic for the next probably 6 weeks, but eventually all the groups are going to have to make a sensible decision that keeps tractors alive and keeps rear ends alive, because you know the 4-1 class is still an ag-rearing class, and so like I said, not my decision. I'll enforce whatever I'm told to enforce, but if I was a gambling man, I would say that a box turbo will be a little less horsepower than what we're cranking out right now. A lot of pullers won't like it, but if everybody's on the same page, it's the same page.
Right. But it does kind of, it is good that way, but it is kind of technology and guys, you know, one manufacturer can make all the money on the class. You know, whoever it is. But
you'll have to be fair as a larger organization and give one manufacturer one class, another manufacturer this other class, and down the road you might give if there's really 3 big ones out there, give the third one a different class. You know, so gotta make it fair.
I know it's been talked about too, and that's a fair way to do it. You know, it really is, but you know, I don't know.
It's a hard decision to make.
It is. Because you look at Super Farm there for like 5 years. Super Farm did not have to buy a new turbo really there for 5 years, and they could keep competing. You know, it's kind of, you know, not here and there. You know, there was no 50 horse gains. You know, and people weren't going to go out and spend $8,000 for 10 horse. You know, so yeah, I don't know.
Well, I have a friend building a brand new Super Farm. He bought a 4-1 chassis, and I've been kind of helping him through the process because he's new, and his major expense, he bought a 8600 pump to put on the side of it, and that pump was over $20,000. And I said, really? You think you really need that? And he goes, well, my engine builder and my turbo supplier says I need this pump. Oh, okay. So that kind of puts things in perspective. Sewer farms are spending more money for fuel pumps than what a 4-1 and a light pro guy does, because we're limited to a 1600 carcass, and that's what we run. And those pumps, they're not cheap, but then also there's another group out there that's going to allow the Hypermax 50 millimeter aftermarket pumps.
Yep.
I was really shocked by that, but it is what it is, and that's their decision. I don't think the Pro Pulling League is going to do that, because for several reasons. Because that pump delivers fuel fast at the 15 millimeter level, but there's also people out there that can take that same carcass and put a lot bigger plunger in, and then we got a lot of fuel going into a limited class again, and that's not really what we want to do. That's not, once again, not my decision, and I had nothing to do with it.
I think over the years, I don't know the whole turbo thing going on there. I guess I'm not up to speed with what that is, but even like I was talking with guys in Northern Illinois, they're on their show of garden tractor pulling, and they thought, what's something that would make, garden tractor pulling better? There's so many classes, and I've said it to Greg before too, every year seems like someone, builds something, and now we got to have another class. So then you got 10 different 1066 tractors all lined up, and you ask someone from the crowd to tell a difference of what they are, and they'll pick out the pro farm and the hot farm because the tires look different, but they don't really know. The other thing that turbo rules and the rules of classes is you're going to run with whatever organization you're going to run with. I mean, if you're going to run with Badger State, or you're not going to run full-time Badger State and run PPL, or you're going to run Silver Series, or whatever you may run, but the greater good of pulling, it would be in the better interest of all organizations that have the same rules to grow the whole class and all the clubs, rather than try and keep, a majority of these people pulling with this organization and shorten the other ones or whatever. In my opinion, humble opinion, I think it'd be better just to, even Steven across the board, and you can bounce around. If you didn't want to pull Badger State full points, you could go to a Silver Series pull. You can go to whatever pull and come to Badger State and go to these others for a summer,
Well, that's just it. You had a limit there. The 7100 pump was a limit, and they've come to the limit of that. And not, to me, the reason to let them run the 86. No, this was the limit. This is part of the limit. Make it work here. Right? So if you're going to open it up to a $20,000 pump, you can go and buy a Die-Hard, one of the little Columbus Die-Hard pumps, for $5,000, and it'd probably work better. A Sigma. Why not do that then?
Absolutely. Well, Well,
if you're going to open it up,
the Kiss of Death was about 3. You'll probably agree with me, Greg, here. About 4 years ago in the 4-1 class, the turbos have kind of slowed down, and the pumps were stopped. And everybody's like, "Oh, there's big pumps out there." I was like, "No, there's not." And then I checked a couple, because I have all the equipment. I can pull a barrel and plunger out. Put my little scope down there. I can tell you exactly how big that plunger is. And that kind of caught everybody's attention. Like, oh, I guess Tucker's not just the drunken retard everybody thinks I am. And then so that stopped, and then they started jumping up and down about components. And there was a big wave of my guys out west wanted them, and not everybody was on that same page. So I just it looks like whenever you cure a problem with the turbos weren't moving around and the pumps weren't moving around, we were making big classes and going great. We tore up some small block John Deere rear ends, and that got the component discussion going again. But that was not in the favor of everybody, so we stopped that. And but this year the the turbos advanced a bunch with some new technology, and is it right that we take that away from that guy? Um, you know, Probably not, but also the other manufacturers don't see eye to eye with some of the rules that we already put in for next year. So it's it's a mess. I think it'd be could be very very simplified if you just put a wheel length limit, and then let the guys do their tweaking, and put the technology back into it. But you also don't want to get into a situation to where you change all the turbo rules here March 1st, and then the guys that build the turbos can't get them done, because then that
Right.
because you guys start 1st of June, I start the end of May. We want to prevent that. So the quicker the better, and get everybody on the same page. Um, Unfortunately, I think for 2025, it's going to be kind of a complicated mess,
Yeah.
because nobody's really of the big three. Nobody's really all on the same page
Well,
for one
the boat
individual
drop.
class, and but it also trickles down into the 3-inch class, because whenever you're dealing with the 3-inch turbo, it doesn't matter what size of the exhaust housing is, or exhaust wheel. You got super farmers doing it. You got the smaller limited pro classes doing it, and all the trucks are doing it as well. You know, the with the longer compressor wheels. They call them boat props, but it's a longer compressor wheel that fills the compressor housing a little fuller than what what we were all used to when we first started.
Right. Guys put them outside the bore. That should have never happened. They should have never done it. We didn't have any of them in Badger State that way. I watched, because we had one of the first ones, and I was watching everybody's turbos, just to see who had what. And there was nothing like that in Badger State. I know that, but
well, you can hear them. We had a bunch of them this weekend. You can hear them. They make a lot of noise. They make a lot of
the ones that are outside the bore.
Yeah, there's a few.
Did you have any outside the bore in your dealings?
Oh yeah. Well, if you classify the needle and the needle in the face of the wheel actually comes out of the bore. I mean, out in front of the bore. Now it's still got some of the housing around it, but it's out there. And
you heard
the first one I saw, I told the guy not to get married to that, because they're probably not going to keep that around forever.
Right. But
and it's a safety issue.
The guys that said the wheels are bigger outside the 401, I said, how'd they get the cover on and off then? Think about what you're saying. The wheel is not bigger outside the 401 bore.
No, it's the same size.
It inside the cover. What's that?
It's the same size.
Right. It can't get bigger. How would you get the cover on and off?
Bigger. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I had that same thing. It goes that thing gets bigger. No, it really doesn't. It just looks like it, because you can't see what's back in there.
Right. People were talking about him and never seen him before ever, and we're talking about it. Is what?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everybody's losing their minds about it.
Right, and they never looked at it.
They're scared of Bigfoot, and I've watched thousands of hours of Bigfoot shows, and they ain't caught that guy yet. He's still running around. But I think calmer heads will prevail. I want to see how this works in Louisville with the new containment device in the front. I think that's going to catch, and probably needed.
Yeah.
Probably needed in all groups.
Right.
Guys are throwing a fit about it. And I was like, I said, you threw a fit about a roll cage, and you threw a fit about this, you threw a fit about that. It's just, pick your battles. It's
right.
safety.
Everybody's going to have it on there. And I've talked to somebody. I ran one on a dyno already, and he said it didn't even affect it. So that's
sure.
Yep. It didn't change anything. So But if it keeps somebody from getting hurt, we need.
Oh, absolutely. And we cranked a few turbos this weekend and big loud violent explosions and they all stayed under the hoods. It was good.
Yep. Last year we all had to put the crossing or the potato slicer in the exhaust side. Everybody's worried about that. You didn't hear a word about it all summer after it was running, right?
Yeah. And I couldn't believe how many groups came there this year because I made a stand last year for obvious reasons that you had to have some kind of a containment device on your turbos plus the bolts, and not many groups followed that, and then I dealt with my insurance people for my event this year, and I was like, do I have to live up to them standards again? And they're like, no. So we had tractors there with stars. We had tractors there with the NTPA cross. We had tractors there with the cage. The cage that comes with the turbocharger from the manufacturer plus the bolts. We had guys that had 4 sets of half-inch bolts. That's what that group requires out east. And so everybody's doing the same thing. They're just doing it different. Just trying to keep the exhaust wheel from getting into the elbow. And then there's some new things with the intake pipes for Louisville. It's going to be interesting how a lot of guys do that. But that's coming. The angles that the air comes out of, that's the first point of resistance that those pieces have.
Yep.
And they could get through muffler pipe. The better pipes they won't, but we can't make standards that that we can't enforce because we don't be taking all those anaconda pipes off and checking the thickness. Now we have the same piece of equipment for safety. We check the roll cages can check those crossover pipes too. A lot of guys are like, oh, I'll just try to slough through it. I was like, no, we can check that.
Yep.
So I said, just make it on stainless and be safe and put a little shield there on your hood where that elbow's at.
Corner. You only have to make that first corner because that's where it's going to stop. Yep.
Yeah, I've had those pieces of those turbos come out that first corner twice this summer, and thank God nobody got hurt. But they did come out.
Yep.
Thing evolves with technology. You got to follow.
Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Everything evolves with technology and making more horsepower and everything else, but safety's got to come along with it too. And it is a bit of extra work, but it's just like you say. Complain about roll cages and complain about the extra side shields underneath the hood behind your side shields, and then it just, if you don't have the safety there and you get one big lawsuit, someone dies, you're all done.
Yeah. Insurance is a hard thing to work with whenever you don't have standards, and you just got to have good standards. And I had a lot of guys complain about some of the things that I require for them to have at this, one of the smaller indoor events. You got to have a bottom drop bar, and you got to have, a blanket that's not Swiss cheese. And I caught a hot farm kid running out. He went down the track one night and had a pair of blue jeans on. I was like, what are you doing? He goes, well, in my club, we don't require fire pants. I'm like, well, everybody else in the world does. So please put them on tomorrow. Okay. It's just, there's a lot of pulling tractors in the United States now compared to what there was when I first started this game in 2005.
Right.
There's a lot of good pulls going on because, and it's the evolution of sleds. There's so many adequate sleds for high horsepower in the United States now that we don't pull the boat anchors like we used to. There's a lot of fast sleds out there, Von Bauer builds them and sells them. Brandon Bungart's built them and sold them. Dave Hager built them and sold them. Richard Love builds them and sells them. And on and on and on. And so there's more groups getting better sleds. Well, then you can pull faster stuff. Sometimes those sleds get in environments they shouldn't be pulling faster stuff in that environment because it's just not safe. It's not safe.
Well, the older, some of them sleds
that's
are
why,
25.
That's why.
Yeah. Some of them sleds are 25
Yeah.
years old. 25 years ago, Pro Stock might have been making 1,500 horse, right? 1,200, 1,500 horse. Now the hot farms are way past that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was on the Pro Stock team when I was in high school and college, and we had right around about 1,300 horse. And we won the points in Illinois every year with that for 5 years straight.
What year was that? 1900 and what?
Yeah, we started winning the points in 1987, and we won it 5 years in a row, from 87 to 91. We were around 1,300 horse. That wouldn't even get you in the sand pile of the pro farm class I ran last weekend.
Well, it's like you're talking about limited pro too. Rear ends going on them. Limited pros make more horsepower now than what pro stocks did when they switched to component because of
Yes, they do.
Holding up with the small block beers and whatever else. The bull pinions and whatever, and internationals weren't taking it, and the pro stocks no more. So that's why that class evolved to component. But so now
if you want
past that mark now.
If you want to hear some shocking numbers, we had some light pros that competed this weekend that are almost 4,000 horse. Ag variants.
Wow.
Yep.
With RPM. Holy
right
shit.
there.
Yeah.
They're right there.
How many component light pros did you end up with this weekend, Clint?
We only had one, which I have not called all my NTPA friends I have and tease them yet because back when I made them legal in the Western Series, that was quite a mess. And one of my better runners out west went component, laid the summer out, debuted it this weekend, and I think he got a top 3. I really appreciate all the effort. It was a Grimes family from Missouri. Got a top 3 and ran good. They're learning, but I was going to tease the guys that didn't come because there was a lot of tractors just refused to come compete this weekend. Because originally we had 3 of them entered. We had a Case, a Ford, and John Deere, and the Case couldn't get his parts for the whole tractor, and the Ford couldn't get his motor. But I was going to tease them that, hey, just because you buy a component doesn't guarantee you first place. That just because your horsepower goes to a truck rear end doesn't guarantee you first.
Okay. Did you do a difference in weight for the components versus the cast ass track?
Yes, sir. It was 83 to 87.
Okay, 83 to 87. That's quite a jump, though. Did it seem to work out, or what do you think?
Hey, he's right there. We will copy the new rules that we've put in for the Propylene League next winter. It'll be 85 and 87. That's what we're going to run outside. That's what we'll run inside next year because these tractors have a lot of movable weight. But yeah, it's the light pro class is the up and coming class. I mean, that's all there is to it. There's lots of components getting built. You guys are probably going to have more components than I'm going to have this summer. I mean, if everything would work out perfect in the Western Series, I would have more components than I will cast rear end tractors. But I just don't see them getting done. Just parts and time and all that stuff is just not in my favor. And I shot myself in the foot, by legalizing them because guys all sold the really good chassis and the components still haven't showed up yet. So I'm suffering a little bit on my decision. And, I'm getting grilled a little bit for it. But you have to start somewhere. And I do think it's the right decision for that class. I do think that class is going to grow. But, the guys that build the really nice components are really swamped because some of these pro stock guys swap these component chassis out like to do their tires. They want something better or different and tweak it a little bit. And hopefully the guys that are buying the secondhand chassis can get the tractors together and we can see them on the track this summer because I really think this is going to be a fantastic class. And Europe, with their pro stock class, and our light pro class are going to be really close now. And if I had some budget, our goal in the next 2 years is to float 4 of their real pro stocks over and pull in our light pro class. We think that'll bring a tremendous amount of excitement to our winter event. And we just got to get some other events in the winter time to agree with me.
Right.
That way
I think you need to get a few of our guys got to get caught up to where they're at. I think too, because they've been doing it forever.
Yep.
And that's their big class there.
Yep.
So
yeah, exactly. And I think it'll be a really interesting thing to bring them over here, and that's our goal is to get the sponsors and invite our European friends over to compete. We did it at Gordonville one year, and that was a hit. And then they got to go down to Louisville and compete. And that was a riot. That whole winter was a riot. Just a lot of fun. Those guys are a lot of fun from over there, and they don't have any indoor poles anymore. Now I think they do some farm stock stuff, but they don't have the Ahoy pole anymore, and so you don't get to see those guys, in the wintertime on YouTube or live stream. And so, but, if we could just find a home that's a good home for us, and everybody gets comfortable in their own skin for what we're doing, I think we have enough sponsors that would be all in on that. And not only some of their pro stocks, but even some of their super sport tractors come over and competing with us at different levels. Those guys have expressed interest in doing that too, but I got to get some of the other indoor events to kind of be willing to let these guys hang out over here for 6 weeks and compete at at all these indoor events and have some fun. Yeah, it's because a lot of guys are aggravated about the sideshow of the European vehicles over there, and I thought it was great. And I'm friends with some of them, so I think it's great.
All right. Well, Clint, I want to thank you for coming on and talking a little bit about Cloverdale.
Thanks for all you guys' support. And like I said, tell all your Badger State hot farms that we're doing some work for them this year and this spring, and we're going to have a place where they all can come and compete together next year at our event, and trying to make it better for them because their cubic inches of their motors are smaller, their turbos are smaller, their tires are smaller. But we're going to try to do our best to get them involved again because the Badger State group helped me get started, and if you don't have loyalty in this game, especially the game I play in the wintertime, loyalty is number one. And also, Badger State guys probably wouldn't be scared of snow. So we're going to do the best we can.
Yep. So, yeah, I was going to let everybody know next week. I have a little bit of video from Chris Feller's Caterpillar tractor. And he's going to get us some videos on machining the blocks he's making for. He's got some more blocks he's got roughed in, and I think that'll be a great show next.
That'll be neat. I'm really looking forward to seeing Chris's tractor. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah. It's down at Wildman's. I was down there Friday, and he happened to be there, so we did a few minutes in front of his tractor. He talked about it, and he's got some videos of. He's building for Limited Pro. He's building an aluminum block for my boys, and he's building one for Chris Feller, Jared Fredericks, too. So they're going to have 2 of them that are roughed in already.
Sure.
So we'll have a little insight on that, how that's coming along, I think, and where we're at with it, and hopefully it'll make it out by the summer. But that's the big if, right?
Sure. Oh, me and your son were plotting totally against you for next year for our indoor event. So.
Okay. Keep it. All I gotta do is keep it alive. Yep. Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for all your support. We'll see you down in Louisville.
Yep. Thanks, Clint. We'll talk to you soon. So.
Take care.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for watching tonight. We'd like to thank Front Street Toys, Casper Egg, Slama Enterprises, Trip Downing, and Wetton Camp Transport for sponsors for the Down and Dirty of the Badger State Tractor Pullers. Thanks everybody for coming on. Thank you, Ryan, for the video and helping us out. And we'll see you all next week.
We will do.